Big Mike,
What's up, boy? What's going
man, you
on?
can hear me good. I'm super nervous right now that something's gonna go wrong, but I'm good.
Man, knock on wood. You got some wood in there. Knock on the
Nah, I ain't got
wood,
no
man.
wood. I got some good marble. I got some
Huh?
good marble. Wait, they got
Yeah,
the upgraded
yeah.
stuff.
You got to tell the people where you at, man. Or
Yo,
maybe
so
you
we had
shouldn't.
no fine. Yeah, we had 2.0 plus one. So I'm in Bahrain right now, sitting here planning for a World Cup conference, which is pretty cool, man. Out here with the Marines and the Army. So get my
Mm.
oorah on and my off we go selling the ships or whatever they say. Anchors away. That's what it is. Anchors away.
Off we
Anchors
go
away.
selling the shit. Hey,
So
you
yeah,
gonna get jumped. That's what you gonna do. You gonna
yo,
run into.
I'll be walking to the NEX because I can't say BX because they correct me. I'll be giving all the Marines a ooh rah, thinking
Oh
I'm gonna get
man,
one back.
yeah. And they look at you, start laughing.
Hey, some give me like a rah, some give me like, bro, what the hell you doing? You know, so I get you never know what you gonna get. What's up with you though?
Hey man, chilling, man. I'm just Hey, went to Osan. Had to drive like 2 hours up there, 2 hours back. Man, had to pick some stuff up, bro. We ain't really got too much down here, so you gotta make trips to go get what you need.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I got back like a couple hours ago, man. Just trying to get situated. And that's it, bro. Weekend here is gonna go by fast, and then Monday gonna be back, and you already know,
Yeah.
same slogan, same
So
slogan.
we off Friday, Saturday. We got work Sunday, so it's kind of weird. Their holidays is Friday, Saturday out here, or excuse me, their
Yeah.
weekends Friday, Saturday, and so they off
Ah,
Sunday. So we back at work tomorrow, so we gonna put in that overtime. While y'all sleeping
overtime.
there, while you sleeping and stuff, we gonna be out here helping
Nope,
y'all
nope.
out.
I about to say, don't say protecting the world and free with all of your slogan. Whatever your slogan is, you be saying.
Nah, what's up, people? Everybody that's in the building, what's going on? We got a very special show for y'all. For y'all that's been rocking with us for since day one, A1. We have had this guest on one time, and he was our very first guest that we had. As far as we try to do the virtual thing or the Zoom thing, and we try to do something with the picture, like kind of what we're doing now. It didn't work out, so it's straight audio. But he was our first guest that we had on, which was, man, 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, yeah,
2 freaking years
yep.
ago. So a lot has changed since then as more people are coming in the building. As always, if y'all have any questions, go ahead and post them in. We'll go ahead and ask those questions. Let's go ahead and bring them on. I want to introduce stuff because I think I'm going to jack it all up if I try to do it. So we're going to go ahead and bring them in. Ladies and gentlemen, retired Chief Master Sergeant Todd Simmons. What's going on, sir? How are you?
He a fool.
Pete. What's up, Pete and Mike, man? Pete said
What's up, Chief?
Yeah, Pete said he was going to jot the intro up. He had to look at a piece of paper like he didn't in the office.
Don't do that.
Like I didn't yell at him for 18 months as a senior.
Hey, Pete, reading scripts, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everything together, but what's going on, Chief? How are you?
What's going on? Not too bad, man. You know, I'm not on the time zone y'all on, so man, I'm out here. Just moved into my new house, and it's chaos, man. If I had to turn this screen, man, you'll see all kind of stuff you don't want to see right now. But it's going good, man. Happy to carve out some time, man, to share with you. I heard the intro, man, but man, I'm telling you, first of all, that's a fire intro video.
Oh, love.
Appreciate it.
Man, I'm sitting here. I don't sit nowhere and watch nothing for 3 minutes. So I'm sitting there, and I watched the whole thing, man. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. It drew me in. But
OP put some work into that. He put some work into that.
Let me tell y'all, for you, I ain't scared to tell the secrets because I know that if you're going to put in the work, you're going to find it yourself. So people ain't going to put in the work. I can just tell you, Canva is a mother effort. That thing will set yourself apart if you try to do some intros or try to do some PowerPoint slides. Look at Canva. You might have to get the membership, but Canva is the thing, and I'll take sponsorships from them if they listening. Yeah.
Hey, we got a whole gang of sponsorships we need.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, Chief, I'm trying not to call you Chief, but it's not going to work. So hopefully we can move past that. Yeah, it's so tough, and I know everybody else has the same thing. So how's it going? Well, first of all, if anybody sees you, they see you everywhere and anywhere. They can find you in a different city, different state, different country, different atmosphere. Next thing you know, you're going to be on with Elon Musk over there in space somewhere, holding it down. So what's going on? I think we lost Mike, so we just going to kick him out for now. But what's going on?
Nothing much, man. I appreciate that. I mean, to be honest with you, 2 years ago, I think back when I was first on with you and Mike, man, and to watch y'all growth. First of all, shout out to y'all for all the success and stepping forward and living your purpose and things that you are trying to do. But no, man, it's just been trying to grow this thing, trying to be out here, not trying to show, honestly, if I was to put it in about 10 seconds, trying to just be who I believe I'm supposed to be, right? Not only, and part of that is living in your purpose. The second part is being super invited and collaborative, right? A lot of things in this world that we are all blessed to have done. Travel, raise families, raise kids, travel all over the world, come from Modesto and areas, all over, places like that. But at this point in my life, man, what people, success to me is not monetary. It's never been. I didn't join the military to get rich. So, what I've been doing is, I'm trying to grow my own business, but more so, I'm trying to be overly collaborative where other people can grow with me, to really show as an example of, man, that table. People talk about it. That table. But the only way you truly see a table of success is that everybody at your table have to be successful.
Right.
And so, you can talk about a table being successful, but if you're the only person sitting at the table pontificating down the table, then that's not a true table of success. So I think at this point in my life, it's about, building a legacy for personally, for my family. Yeah. And trying to do something in the second chapter of my life, but also just living in a peaceful place, man, and make it about other people.
Man, that's awesome.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on here already talking about, Chief Simmons, my mentor. So I know you've mentored a lot of people, including myself, is on that list as well. And I know there's a lot of people, more people out there that are not watching right now that you've mentored as a military member. So what was, some of your messages that you passed off as being in the military? What are some of those messages that you kind of talked about? And when I say that, I'm kind of talking about, with promotion systems as they are now, right? I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. Promotion systems are tough for a lot of junior enlisted, and maybe they don't see the light at the end of the promotion tunnel. I'll call it that. And they kind of see themselves stagnant. And how do you kind of address that, or what do you kind of say about that?
Yeah, I always give a disclaimer. I saw Dre on there and all the time. And I tell people, and let me explain. I tell people to call me by my first name, right? Because I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that. Not that I'm disrespecting the military or disrespecting the chief culture or anything. It's just that, you know, I served 25 years, somebody calling me something else. And to reclaim that is reclaiming the identity that you're trying to build after that. So you're talking about, you know, what you said, you know, about mentorship and, you know, promotion. Why I say that is I try not to talk about Air Force policy or anything like that, because I'm not in Air Force and I'm not a chief. 2,800 chiefs are doing great work and trying to do that. But I will tell you, perspective for me is, you know, yes, things will go in as long as you stay in the military, there'll always be one constant, and that's going to be change. That's just the truth. And some of that change is not always going to be personally advantageous to you. According to what is your personal ambition goals. And this one thing, we put promotion into it, right? Yes, promotion rates are slowing down, but according to who you talk to, that's why I'm gonna give grace on this. If I'm a young 6 or 7 year person, of course I see it as a knock, because I'm not going to get the opportunities that I perceived that I was going to get while I was in. That can go in that can be military, that can be corporate, that could be anything. Now, if you're older like me, who was in when I made staff, in the historic promotion rate to staff sergeant in 1997 and 98 was like 18 and 19%. And that was considered historic, you know, and then when I came in and I went to plenty staff and tech sergeant retirement, not promotions, retirements. Mm-hmm. And some of the sharpest people who ever groomed me when we talk about mentorships were 20-year tech sergeants. Those were some of the sharpest people that I ever. Now, I was one, you know, so I have to give grace to people who say it, because I was one of those people who rode that increased promotion rate. I got promoted, and when I got staff, it was a historic rate. And then from there, a lot of people who came in during my time, we got opportunities that the people before us didn't get. So if you talk to somebody who joined in the late 70s or early 80s, they're going to tell you like, man, you know, you guys making chief at 17, 18 years, that wasn't as plentiful as it was. You know, you didn't see that. So what I would tell them is, look, to be short on the answer is, you know, at the end of the day, you know, that the change will come. This, you know, you don't know what's going to happen in 2 years, but don't focus all your energy on this one thing, right? Somebody has to get promoted. That was always my philosophy, is that as long as the promotion rate wasn't 0, then I got a chance. You know, like, you know, growing up in, you know, I was like, hey, promotion rate ain't 0, I got a chance. I just did the work to try to study as hard as I could or put myself in a position to get promoted. But also, as long as I can remember being in, probably from senior airman, promotion wasn't my priority. And anybody who ever been around me knew that, you know, as long as I supervised people since 1999, my only priority for you was to find what's best for you first, and then everything else came second. Because if I can find your purpose and your passion, if I can find that you wanted to be a school teacher one day, or like when we were in the office, Pete, you know, Spears wanted to be a clinical psychologist, and now she is a clinical psychologist, and all of these things. I was trying to find what made you a great human, because if you can wake up in the morning and fulfill that bucket, then you're gonna be a great airman. You're gonna be a great airman. You're gonna bring that enthusiasm to work. You're going to bring that enthusiasm to the people you lead. You're going to bring that enthusiasm to the peers around you. So what I would tell people who are looking, you know, who are really, really down the dumps about promotion rate going down, number one, you still got a chance to get promoted. Nobody is going down to 0. It might be some different, now the system ain't changing, just, you know, how you have to maneuver in that system may change. That's all. Right. But the system is still going to be the same. Just the promotion rates are going to go. And this, as they go down, they're going to go back up. So I would tell you to look at what really is the end game for you, because the end game is not being a chief. The end game can be being a chief. And what's the and? What's the and ... So because at the end of the day, when you retire or separate or medically board or whatever the situation that you leave the Air Force, even voluntarily, you're not that anymore. That's just the truth. So you need to make sure that you're finding your passion and your purpose and your reasoning why you even exist. And then this other thing will come. It'll come with everything else, but that's not the definition of you. The definition of you is what drives you.
Man, that's awesome. Real quick, Pete, tell him JB said what's up. So JB said what's up. He typed it in the thing so he can see it.
Oh, JB.
Yeah, he can say
he out here with me.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
I see JB. Tell him I see him, man. Proud of him, man. JB is one of them dudes, man. One of them dudes that got a great story. If you ever want to hear a great story, man, I'm so proud of that brother that didn't give up. That's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Focus on taking care of people. Yeah.
Focus on the right things, man.
That's so I've been seeing Pete use the analogy shaking and moving before we even kicked off. And I've been seeing you doing a lot of shaking and moving. So when you doing it, going back full circle, being on the other side, like we talked about in your chapter 2, what's different is, if anything, what's different? Like addressing large military communities and coming back at it and talking to them from a civilian perspective. Is there anything that's different?
100% different. I won't say that it's different. And, you know, if you saw me, 3 years ago in uniform, I pretty much was the same person, right? You know, I spoke about real human stuff. I always did. Always have honest conversation. You know, I would always tell Pete like it is as a man. You know, and no matter what, I've always had that. But what's different now is not, I do get to spend a significant time with the military, but we do spend a lot of time corporate and small businesses and all this. What's different now, I would say, is I joined the military at 18 years old, retired at 43. And my whole, even though I went to school and taught college after school, all of these different things, what made me live overseas, the last 3 years, I think, has been the greatest growth of my life. And what I think I bring back to the table now is being totally free to learn in a world that I don't have any barriers in. So I think that, it's like I equate it to, I was bowling for 25 years with the bumpers on. And now somebody took the bumpers off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your skill game got to be different now, right? You ain't looking at all this safety that you got in the left and the right. You looking at this one lane and you can't go in the gutter. So I think now my because it's me. I don't have exec. I don't have, I don't have all these things. It's me. And I think it has made me learn and appreciate the growth aspect of what it takes to truly accomplish something.
Right. Right.
So what, I guess, I'm trying to think of how to word this question while you were talking. I guess, what does it feel like? Because I'm trying to say it's humbly, but you're like one of the most famous people I know. And when I say famous, you could fill up a room. See, I know you could be like, no, not at all. But you fill up a room. So, when people say like Todd Simmons is going to come speak, I know what that does to, in the military community, the wings, and you've been out there with Amazon and filling up rooms with them and everything like that. What does that feel like to walk into a room and know everybody's there for you, everybody to hear what you have to say, and you have that responsibility to move them or create them or change flows, change lives, change influences? How do you do that? What's that mood like? Is it like a actor where you just switch on a switch and it's like, okay, it's go mode, or you just being exactly who you are, the person I know as well?
Well, man, it's been a transformation. I tell you, man, like, hell, 2016, if you put me in a room of 100 people, I was going to throw up. That's the truth. But now, man, it's a different purpose, right? So, and I don't walk out into a room thinking anybody's there for me. I honestly don't ever think that. I think people have come because they're looking for something, and it might not even be from me, right? Or there's people there a lot of times who don't want to be there, and they find something. Or there's people, so I don't ever think it's about me. I think it's people. I think the universe puts people in seats for a reason, right? So whatever the reason you there is the reason you there. But it ain't from me, because I didn't create the space for you to be there. Somebody else created the space for you to be there. I just happen to be the vehicle right now. I just happen to be a potential vehicle, right? And not everybody's going to ride on that bus. That's okay. And when I go out and I speak about anything, or I'm teaching about anything, I do 2-3 days. Sometimes I spend 3 days with people on workshops, like 3 8-hour days, right? And it's very, a lot of energy, right? At the end of the day, all I want is at the end of the day, when I leave people, I left some people yesterday, is I'm like, hey, if you took one thing away from this experience, which is not me, it's because, a lot of times you're talking with each other. A lot of times you put people, if you took one thing away from this experience, it's a successful day, it's a successful 2 days, successful 3 days. But I don't ever make it about me. It's not about me. And because I don't think I'm not Alicia Keys, or, you're not going to a concert, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a vehicle. I'm just a person who I believe is there for a reason. That might sound weird, but I'm just, I think it's there for a reason. So I have zero fear. I honestly have zero sometimes preparation, because what I'm doing is I'm just trying to, and sometimes it's literally the first 30 seconds is deciding what I'm going to say. Because I think that's the best, that's the best way you can go about it, right? Because not everybody's there to just hear something that's canned, right? Sometimes people just need to hear the truth, and it can be my truth, and my truth can be a part of your truth. Your truth can be a part of the person you're sitting next to's truth. Your body language and emotion now causes somebody else's truth to come out. So it's just, it's just about feel. It's about emotions, about feel. And this is not all about, talking about tough things, because we talk about everything. I just spent 4 hours yesterday talking about feedback with people, like literally something as simple as feedback. But see, feedback isn't simple. In the military, we make it sound simple, but it's not simple. There's a lot of different ways that you can give effective feedback than just sitting with a person and checking off some forms.
Right. Man, it's funny you say that. I think me and Pete and a couple other guys, we had conversations about a year or two back about 360 feedback, and where they need to hear from the people that work for you and the people you work for. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I think we talked about before, people gonna always put their best foot forward for the most part. Their best face is always going to be on for that person you work for. But when you want to hear the truth, you want to hear from the people that's below, right? The ones that work for you, the ones you're supposed to be taking care of. But what's your opinion on that 360 feedback? And do you think it's something we need to move to?
I was a huge advocate in uniform. I'm a huge advocate. I work with a lot of non-military. Look, you can't be afraid of feedback, right? I'm the first person to admit that I always was. Let me tell you how crazy it is. When someone walks up to me, and this just happened yesterday. It happens all the time. Be like, hey, you don't remember me? I'm sure y'all everybody in the military gets that. You don't remember me. The first thing I ask people when they say that, hey, you don't remember me? We were stationed together. Someone say, hey, when did you know me? Did you know me as a master sergeant? Did you know me as a senior master sergeant? Did you know me as a chief? Or did you know me as a command? Like, what era were you in? Because those are different people, and it shouldn't be different people. And the only reason I say that, because, man, if I had some effective feedback when I was a master sergeant, especially as probably an E6, E7, I probably wouldn't have made some of the mistakes I made as a senior master sergeant. And if I had some honest, peer, upward and down feedback, which is 360, I probably wouldn't have made some of the mistakes I made with some of my subordinates as a senior master sergeant. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I thought back, the best feedback I ever received is when an airman told me, where was I when I was a chief master sergeant? Where were you at when I needed you? Wow. This airman had been in my office 5-6 times, and I thought I was being chief of the chiefs. I thought I was doing right. I was asking all these questions, and then this airman unfortunately tried to, take her life. And then now, post that incident, I'm talking to this airman. Now I want to be Todd Simmons. Now I want to be, about my story. She's like, where was that when I needed you?
Right. Wow.
And I'm like, boy, blind spot, damn. I mean, that could have been a question, am I a person who's showing empathy? Do I show empathy? Do I show enough empathy? I would love to ask my peers that. I would love to ask, if when I was a master, I would have loved to, and I was a master when Pete worked for me. I would have loved to ask Pete that as a senior airman. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to ask, my senior dad. I would love to ask another master sergeant dad. I would love to send them a 360 and be like, hey, 3 questions. These are 3 questions that I think are blind spots to me. Do you think I show enough empathy, humility? And do you think I'm a person, questions that it would have been good.
Yeah. I think 360 feedback is very important. It's very tough, man, to take on from your subordinates and to get feedback from them. It's very difficult to take that in and then be able to change yourself for that. But that's super, super hard and super humbling to hear that that's something that you want and something that's could possibly change how it would be. Big Mike, I know y'all in the kind of squadron level. Do you do that 360 feedback?
No, it's not. I mean, not officially. right? I mean, we have an end of day. We have a beginning of the week and then the end of the day, right? And I always ask them, what can I do? What else can I do? You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's important. And I think a lot of people, when you can't, it shouldn't be difficult. I know you said that it's difficult, right, to take in, but it shouldn't be, because we always should be able to accept what somebody has to say, because we don't see ourselves. All we know is what we want to do and what's the best outcome we're trying to reach. But we don't see ourselves, right? We're not on the other end of what we talking about, the things that we do, and we're not on the other end. We're not on the receiving end of that. So I think it's important to be able to have somebody that, that's on the receiving end to tell you, I asked you for this, you did X, Y, Z, and you missed the mark. Okay, cool. Now let me circle back and figure out, what did I do wrong, where I need to go from there, and keep pushing. But I think it will help. I mean, me personally, I think it will help. It'd be beneficial to me, because you're not going to do everything right. It's no way. None of us are perfect.
Yeah. Chief, I see your internet kind of going out, so we'll kind of work around the technical issues, but we're good for now. I think you're back. Real quick, I got to ask you. So I see on Facebook all the time you're doing your Courage Leadership Alliance classes and stuff. What is the thing with the bar and people with the fingers on the bar, and it looks like they might be moving it? What is? If you could tell me, I don't want to sit there and spoil anything for everybody
going to give it
away.
away.
Nah, but I want to know, what is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Then, hey, make sure y'all send me Unpopular celebrities mailing address so I can send that invoice out to y'all. So,
Roger that. We got you. Send it to Pete House. Put it in Pete, man.
Whoever want to get it, I'll send it to. So no, we use a lot of tools, man. So it's when people see a lot of stuff that we're doing. Pete knows. Pete was in some of my class. So, when I started my business, man, which I'm proud to, shout out to all my, all the folks and all the business partners I have, I can, list them off later or whatever, but shout out to all the folks. I wanted to take it differently. So people know I'm a retired chief. I spend some time in the military, but that's not who I am in this business, right? It has nothing to do with being zero to be a retired chief. We have over 60 things in our catalog. So when Pete met me, all I used to talk about is school. Mm-hmm. So, I'm the person. I don't even have anything on my wall that's resembled that I even ever got a college degree. They're all in the basement somewhere in the garage in a box. But but I'm proud of that, right? I taught college for 17 years on active duty. So my entire background is in education, right? As a defender. I mean, I used to go to work and then get off work and go straight across the street and teach classes at the education office. And I did that for years and years. So everything that we do now is education based. Like I do some speaking here for an hour in there, but what we do is really education based leadership development training. So all of our workshops are interactive. They're very, interactive, education based, topic based stuff. So that particular exercise is probably one of 40 exercises we have, right? That we weave into different things we do. So that's called a helium stick. That's what you're talking about. So I use it for a lot of different reasons. So the main reason I use it is communication. So let's say we get 10 people and they have to balance this stick on their index fingers. And the first thing you see when people start balancing it, you go up there and say, hey, the only rules you have is lowering this stick to the floor. You can't, you can't lose contact with the stick. Mm-hmm. I've probably done the exercise about 50, 60 times. Nobody's ever lowered the bar to the floor. Because the first thing that happens is if I give you 2 minutes to do it, I can even get into a mix. It don't matter who it is. Get 10 people. The first thing everybody's going to start doing is talking over each other. Everybody's going to come up with it's just going to be chaos. So I use it for a communication exercise. Like no one said you couldn't stop, get a plan together, and then execute. Everybody goes into A-type personality mode. We need to do this. No, you need to do this. Then you got the people who shut down and don't say anything. And then you got the people who are frustrated. So you just watch and play out all these emotions that you see happening. Something from a simple lower the stick to the floor.
Yeah.
So the whole point I'm trying to make in that exercise is that, look, man, if you can't communicate in here, you're lowering a stick to the ground.
It's bad business.
It really shows what you're doing when you go out and try to communicate in your organization, right? It really shows that, man, your communication probably, it really puts a mirror in the face of how you're not probably living up to the fullest potential of what this organization to be because we don't communicate with each other. And It really shows what I go into. We can get into the competition versus competitive nature.
Mm.
That's awesome. Hey, we got some questions from the audience. I want last time I know I got feedback. We went too long without giving these questions out, so I apologize for that for last time. But Big Mike, I know you're the reader of the group, so Drea has the first question. Go ahead.
Let's see what Dre, what's she talking about? Let me get my I got my comments thing up too. So, how similar are some of the issues to the civilian sector with some of the military issues we may see in leadership?
I would say the same and not the same. I would say not the same because I would look. We are hard on ourselves in the military. Hard, man, totally hard. But I would tell you another education piece. 3 years being out and dealing with a lot of non-military. I'll put my average person up against a lot of managers in some of the civilian sector. Man, there's leadership. We are hard in saying that people are not good leaders. But we should really take a look at it, the position that we put some people in, right? Well, you're putting sometimes a 23, 24-year-old person in a position of now supervising 7 or 8 people. And the way you supervise people in the military is not the way the civilian sector supervises people. Civilian sector supervises people from 8 to 4 and really don't care about what happens after you go home. When you go home and the time you come back to work ain't my problem in a lot of the civilian sector. So I never really looked at it that way, because I went in and I was consulting with this company, and then I started asking these middle managers that question, like staff and tech level middle managers, like, hey, so how well do you know your people and their kids and all of this stuff? How do you know them after they get, did anybody call you? Because I'm thinking in the military, Tony, somebody who calls you if something happens at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody.
Like, don't call me. That's their life. This is their work. Arson, what you're responsible for. I mean, you are responsible for other people 24/7.
Right.
Somebody gets in trouble. So that natural ability to lead, we take it for granted. We honestly take it for granted. And we'll call somebody who's about 80% good at it. Oh, that person ain't a gooder. But honestly, if that person goes out as a middle manager in some of the civilian sectors, they're going to crush it.
Wow.
So
Go ahead,
I think Chief froze up again. I'm going to make sure he ain't froze up before I go on to the next question. Oh, Chief, you good?
There you go.
All right, I think he hears. Mike, we go and go to the next question. Mary has the next question. Go ahead, Mike.
How do you empower others who see potential and when they don't see it in themselves happens to be the best of us? So how do you empower others you see potential when they don't see potential in themselves?
Can y'all hear me and see me?
Yeah.
We see both.
Okay, I saw my screen up there. It was going like an X in it. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi. I gotta get a booster.
You get that? you get that question, Chief?
Yeah, I know. How do you empower others who see potential when they don't in themselves? Honesty, right? I use brutal honesty, right? I always tell people, like, and I'm gonna use you as an example, Pete. I was so hard on you, Pete, because you were like, I don't know about this school thing. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. Because I'm looking. Is up? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, it's chopping.
Yep.
Is it like a door closed in between where it's at and connection is?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
Okay. No, I said because I always see people like, man, don't tell me the best of you haven't even showed up yet, right? Mm-hmm. I always tell you, it's right there. It's today. So I'm looking. I always tell people when why don't you do this?
We can hear you.
I apologize for these issues.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you.
It just chop up a little bit and you come back in.
Yeah, we good. If you want to lower the screen resolution,
I always tell people, hey, look. Are you trying to get me technical, Pete?
Nah. If you look on the bottom, it says stop recording or stop video. It says that little button right there, the little up arrow. You can lower the resolution a little. That might help out a little bit.
Probably what it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there we
All
go.
right.
All right, you should be good now.
All right. So no, what I tell people is, look, the best of you is right there inside of you. I didn't read on the 10th grade level when I came to the Air Force. So everybody I see, you're talking about a dude who failed every class that he ever took the first 3 years. So every time I see some potential, I always ask them a couple of questions. And the first question is, what do you see yourself? What is the biggest barrier to where you're trying to go? What's the biggest barrier that you see? Because that's usually what it is. It's fear. It's the lack of commitment because somebody has already made you feel that you ain't good enough to do this thing, right? So the first thing what's the biggest barrier you got? What do you want? What do you see yourself in 2 years? After you tell me what you want, what's the biggest barrier to get in there? And everybody has these barriers that are not true.
Right.
Everybody has these barriers that are not true. And then from there, empowerment is just believing in people and never walking away. So I can tell you, hey, man, you can do whatever you want. Obstacles that you have. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I thought we lost you for a second. Go ahead.
No, I say without helping and walking people, the thing is, people got to understand relationships are forever, and people are going to stumble and people are going to come back and forth. How do you empower people? You stick by them, and you make sure you hold them accountable for the tough work. That's what you got to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said that. Go ahead, P. Go ahead, P.
How do you do that? Mike, I got a question right back for him. So if you just have a statement, you can go ahead and I'll ask the question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So how do you do that without walking away? Because I think that's tough. Is you try to put a lot in people as you try to put a lot in me, and I was bullheaded and probably didn't want to listen at times, or probably did the opposite of what you said. And I remember, and I can say this publicly, I remember we were in POI, Principles of Instruction class. And I don't know if you remember this class, but we were in it together, and it was we were in training together, so we had to go principal instruction to get our T. So we were in there, and there was probably 12, 13 of us in there, and we were all taking the last test. Mike, I'll tell you straight up, I'm the only one who failed that test. And when they came around, handed out the little the test, and you got to take it twice, they were like, "Well, Pete, you're gonna have to come back." And I remember Chief was like, "Really, Pete?" And loud as hell. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, man, it was so embarrassing.
Called you smooth out.
Yeah. But that's exactly how he was. But my thing is like, why? How don't you give up on people? Like, what is that to just be like, you know what? He's never gonna make it. Move on.
I don't think so. Look, there's probably a 0.5%. When you talk about giving up on people, there's a difference, right? Now, there's people who come and ask for things that they're not going to do, even though you try to hold them accountable. Right. I don't give up on you, but you may just be put in the, hey, look, you may just be put in the when you ready category, right? I ain't ever going to give up on you. People call me all the time right now and be like, hey, I want to go do this. I see you doing this. The first thing I always tell people, I don't care who call me. Well, this is what it takes. This is what it took, not for you. This is what it took for me to do it. That doesn't mean it's what it's going to take for you to do it. Now, I'm just telling you what the work I had to do to get here. Now, if you want me to help you, I can help you, but there's some work involved. Now, you can either say, you got one or two choices. Yeah, man, that sounds like a path that I want to go, or nah, I don't think that's what I want to do. And I'm okay with it. But I don't ever give up. Now, you call me 6 months down the road and ask me the same question. The answer is still the same. Are you ready to do the work?
Right.
You call me 6 months after that. Are you ready to do the work? And then when you say, yes, you're ready to do the work, there's a limited time that I'm going to tolerate, you not doing the work, because time is precious, right? So I'm always going to love you, but I can love you from afar. I'm always going to support you, but I can also support you from afar. So that's that. I don't ever give up on anyone, but I'm not going to just stay in the pool with you all day either. If you don't want to learn how to swim, it's at some point I'm gonna be like, bro, we got to get out this pool, man. I mean, we've been in this pool for 4 hours and you don't even want to take a step.
That's powerful. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I want to rewind back to that piece about giving up, right? Because we see it a lot. And I mean, the only world we really been in is defender world. Pete, you shook off a little bit where you at now. But we seen too many times people people give up on people, right? You get that one individual may get in trouble, right? They the trouble kid. You know, they had a little incident, and we know they in C's or We's, or they rotted or DNA, and they just a body that's floating through the building doing the odds and ends, you know, and people give up on them, you know, and I think that's the wrong way to go. And Pete, you know, the one person I'm talking about, and we watched him for how, you know, I was coming back fresh from deployment, but we watched like what this kid just aimlessly moving around, and it's like nobody cares about him, you know. And it's disheartening in a sense. And you got, that's one person when you see so many, and it kills the spirit, right? You never see these people get revived. You never see a drive that they have in them. Like you said, it's something they might not just have it at that time. But I think there's something we need to do better at, because you see somebody not moving at the pace you want them to move, and then you let them go, right? You move on to the shiny penny when that's the easy work. That's the easy button. But you get your stripes from the individual. You got to put that work in.
No, I agree, man. You know, I always tell people, man, your job in the military, especially as NCOs and senior NCOs, is to recruit and train and lead great airmen and return great citizens.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when that happened. That can happen in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 20, 30. But your job is to return great citizens, right?
Absolutely.
So soon as somebody doesn't meet the category of great airmen anymore, now you got a responsibility to return them as great citizens,
right.
not return them as throwaway, right? And everybody got these stories, right? I hear everybody telling the story. I tell my story all the time. I wrote about it. I talk about it all the time about how, you know, how somebody saved me as a young airman. But I tell you, man, this empathy thing is really that's why I talk about it all the time. It's very powerful about seeing, feeling, and listening from somebody else's perspective. If you just took 5 seconds every time you encounter somebody and just look at what they're talking about and listen to what they're talking about, feel what they're talking about, you will know that there's a human talking to you, right?
Right.
So regardless, man, of what somebody ever did, they're still a human being, right? I might be upset. I might have been upset with Pete, but at the end of the day, I might be upset when people do something. But at the end of the day, you're still a person. And I don't say I always got it right. Yeah, I knife hand a few people probably, and I probably yelled at a few people, right? But at the end of the day, there's a person involved in that. And you're right, man. I was at a base. I won't call the base out, and I was talking about, you know, some resiliency stuff. And this one airman came up to me and said, "Oh, you're talking about me. How the hell did you overcome any of that stuff that you're talking about?" But he was just in this place because now he was that airman who, I tell people, I tried to, in 1995, I tried to commit suicide on duty as a cop. And then, of course, I didn't have a gun after that for months. Man, I tell them back then, I'm so happy the military is, and people talk about, yeah, we got a lot of work to do with the stigma of mental health. I mean, a lot of work in the military and in society. But man, in 1995, I tried to take my life, and I was painting rocks and painting the dorm and cutting grass. Nobody, that. So I mean, when you say that we still see people walking around, I'm like, what's wrong with going to talk to that person?
Nothing.
What's wrong with sitting down with that person?
Nothing.
What's wrong with I've had people on charges, literally up for court-martial in my office. Court-martial might take a year. Right. This person walking around the squadron with no gun, they still in my office. They're still a human. And you think I'm talking to them about their court-martial? You think I'm talking to them about a QC? You think I'm talking to them about? I'm talking to them about, hey man, like, do you have a plan set up?
Life, yeah. What's your life plan?
What's your life plan if this goes either way?
Right.
You're like, if that, like, are you thinking through that? I know you got a lot of stress on you. Are you handling that stress okay?
Right.
So I just think we gotta be cognizant, and I'd be first to, on a live podcast, say I didn't always get that right either. I missed a few people, right?
I think we all do.
But the thing is, when you see, and it's the same thing, man. So we will be empathetic for the wrong reasons sometime, and I'm not saying you can never be empathetic for the wrong reasons, but we will go out there and we will say we're going to do all these things for bullets, and we're going to help the community, and we're going to do all these things, and your tribe is literally in the threshold of your building. You're not doing that for.
Hurting.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Because is the reward not the same? So, because helping somebody should be more rewarding than helping somebody else to get promoted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Chid, let me ask you: Are these? So, you're bringing up situations. Me and Mike can agree with this. So, you're retired. We're still active. We can agree that these situations are still happening. I'm sure these are situations that you have seen in your career. Is it disheartening? Maybe disheartening is the wrong word. Is it bothersome that we still are certain issues we have evolved from quite rapidly? We have evolved from. We allow women to wear their hair down now. We allow men to have a little more beards on themselves if they have bigger shaving problems and stuff like that. So we have evolved in certain things, but certain things it sounds like we haven't evolved in. Is that disheartening, troublesome, or go ahead, Mike? You act like you want to add something.
Those are external. You know what I'm saying? Like those are external. Those are things you can see. You can't see what somebody's going through mentally, right? I can't see in your mind and know that you having a war within yourself. I can't see that, right?
But as leaders, we go through so much more training now. You got FTAC, you got Airman Pez, you got ALS, like you got leadership is driven down our back, and it seems like those same leadership qualities you need to have are still not being done correctly, and people are going to miss the mark. So don't let me think that anybody's going to be 100% at this shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, are we even improving at all? Or are we just kind of just pushing the rock down up the hill a little bit?
Right. One thing I like we gotta it's you say professional development, right? But it's real, right? It's not nothing like what we do. ALS, CNCOA, NCOA is real, right? We're talking real situations, dealing with people with egos, dealing with the trouble kid, dealing with situations we're talking about now. Like that's what we need to expand across the enterprise. Like people could get this black and white down easy, right? But everybody don't know how to go and sit down with that trouble kid and find out how can I relate to him or her. And if I can't relate to him or her, how can I have the courage or be humble enough to go ask my peer, hey, I can't relate to this person, can you? Because y'all might have more in common. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to expand, like Chief said, reaching people on a human aspect. I think we get to this every show because it all boils back down to, do you know how to treat a person like a person? If you just looking at everybody, the one thing I hate, we always use the terminology bodies, or how many bodies you got downstairs. You know how that sound, right? When you refer to some as bodies, you're talking about the dead, right? If you think about it, we got to get out of that mindset. How many people do you have? How many airmen? How many NCO? Why are we referring to people as bodies? Like we got to start changing the terminology because mentally it starts to ingrain. You know what I mean? It's got to start somewhere.
Man, that's a great point, man. When and you can read you can go nerd out later, but you dehumanize a lot of things in history. Has started with dehumanizing a human, and it made it okay to treat people a certain type of way, right? And that's why I always tell people, man, wherever 10 seconds. If you have 10 seconds, again, not the best at it, but I teach it and write about it, right? But if you have 10 seconds, man, try to understand. Try to use that for good. Example. I always try to find the best out of the world every day I wake up. And I was on Bowling Air Force Base yesterday, and I was in a Starbucks line, and I've never been in a Starbucks line with 21 people in it. I walked in there, and it was ridiculous. I had to like, okay, like, is this gonna happen? I'm gonna sit. Okay, so I got in line. I'm number 17 in line, right? People start feeling. You got one or two choices when you're in that situation. Yeah, you can wait on your coffee. That's your ultimate goal. But I got somebody in front of me and I got somebody behind me. What do you do? Now, it was 25 of us in line by the time I was in line, and 20 people were on their cell phones. Mm-hmm. And I had a Army staff sergeant in front of me and a Coast Guard first lieutenant behind me. Mm-hmm. So I started talking to both of them. The first thing I remembered is that Chief Master Sergeant Air Force Bass posted the day before that it was the Coast Guard's birthday. Mm. Wow. So now I got something where I can pull the string on it. That's what I call pulling the string. So I turned to the lieutenant and say, hey, ma'am, how you doing? Have a good morning. I say, hey, happy birthday to the Coast Guard. Appreciate what you do. And she, big old smile, right? She's Filipino American. We start talking about Filipino food. I'm like, girl, I've been to the Philippines this many times. I love, where can I find some pancit around here? And we having a conversation. I draw in the staff sergeant. You can tell he go to the gym. You know, I'm like, hey, bro, hey, where you live? Start talking, and all that, what gym he goes to and stuff. I said, hey, man, that's cool, man. I said, I'm trying to get back in shape. We talked for 10 minutes while we were in that line. I bought them both a coffee.
Right.
And then me and the LT walked out to the car and all of that. Man, that was 10, 15 minutes of my life. Two strangers, but I probably knew 15 things about each one of them before they left. And I got to mail them both books because I told them about books I got. And hey, look, I'm going to send you some copies. Send me your information. I got the email address. So now that goes into who knows where that goes, right?
Right. Right.
Into the friendship.
Right.
But we don't even do that with people in the cubicle next to us.
Right. Right.
It's crazy.
I think a lot of people look at people in the cubicle next to them as either a competition, or if they're not competition, how do they help me, or how if they can't help me, I don't want to talk to them. And if they can help me, how are they going to help me? And if it's not that, it's just straight competition. Like, yo, you're my competition, so I don't want to feed too much information to you.
Yeah.
So let's bring that up for a second, while the feed is still good. So I talk about this a lot, right? I just talked about this yesterday as part of one of the segments of our full day workshop we do. So everybody's no secret. Everybody know that I'm an Alabama fan because they're the greatest college football team that has ever been fielded in the world, right? Greatest 17 national championships. We ain't gonna talk about stats. Let's just I ain't gonna turn the camera around and let you see my helmet. We ain't gonna go there. But what the point I'm trying to make is competition. Like, you know what? It's nothing wrong. We should own the fact that we're competitive people, because the Air Force, the DOD needs competitive people. Man, you can't win without competitive people. You can't win with people who are willing to go the extra mile and really work hard at something. That's the competitive nature in an airman, soldier, guardian, airman, whatever.
Right.
Now, what you have to be careful of is competition, because competition that can move into toxic competition, it actually reverses your effect of winning.
Right.
And when I explain the Alabama analogy, if anybody follows college football, if you think back at Alabama, the time when Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones was all quarterbacks at Alabama the same time. Mac Jones was the third string quarterback, Tua was second string, and Jalen Hurts was starting, and then they kind of switched up, when Tua came in and won the national championship, all that. All three of those men are starting in the NFL this year. Patriots, Miami, Philadelphia. They all starting quarterbacks. Think for a minute. Mac Jones was the second and third string quarterback for 3 years. Tua was the backup in the national championship. Do you think at one point that Jalen kept information from Tua in practice? Or did Jalen go, hey, that's my competition, that, oh, Matt, don't ask me no questions position? That's not Alabama's style. People wonder why Alabama wins national championship, because in practice, everybody's vulnerable. Everybody has to help everybody. It's about the team winning, and they know that if it's about me, I'm going to be on the bench. I don't care what kind of star I am. I don't care if I'm a 5-star recruit. If I make it about me, I'm not playing, because this is a team effort. Right. So the minute that you started hiding, so just think about that. Jalen had to teach Matt. Jalen had to teach Tua, who replaced him. Tua had to teach Matt. All of this happened, all of this dynamics on there. You can have a 5-star recruit training another 5-star recruit, but only one of them starting, but they're all in for each other. That's how they win. So when I say toxic competition, a system has been created, and that's fine. A system over the last, and made it competitive, where people believe to be competitive, I have to be in competition with you. No, to be competitive, you only have to be in competition with yourself and stay competitive, which means that to be competitive, you have to do the work. So if I'm going to be the fastest person on the team, then I got to show up. Kobe said it all the time. If I want to be the best, then I'm going to be here 2 hours before practice. If practice is at 4, then I'm coming at 2. Your competition is only with your abilities. If you want to be the best NCO, then develop yourself beyond PME. If you want to be the best NCO, then find books that's going to teach you about dynamics of leadership and empathy and all of these different traits that you can bring to be the better leader. If you want to be the best person in position for becoming a chief or a master sergeant or whatever you're trying to do, then do the things that the Air Force spells out that you have to do that. What Pete ain't relevant to you. And if guess what? And if you look over at Pete and say, I got all this skills and knowledge and I'm killing the game, even though we both E6s, I'm going over here to tell Pete, this is the game.
Right.
This is the game. Like, hey, Pete, I learned this from somebody. Here you go. Hey, Pete, I see what you got going on, but if you do this, this, and this, then you're going to be better at this. The problem is we don't look at it as competitive as what the real competition is. The competition is not letting this country fail. The competition is everything you hear in your classified and unclassed briefings, that who is nipping at our heels. And if you don't have the best people showing up, and if people don't realize the DOD is facing its worst recruiting challenges since 1970s right now. Worst recruiting challenge. And Zers are not joining the military for a whole lot of reasons, right? They're not, because it's not just the military, it's also the civilian sector.
Right.
But if you allow your organization to slip into a toxic culture where people are looking at each other as the competition, then you're already failing. And that is something that's been around for too long. So that's kind of where I go with this competition versus competitive. I'm a super competitive person, but I wake up every morning in competition with no other human on this earth.
Right.
I like that. Man,
it's so many people. It's so many people that we got to run that back a million times. Just the whole piece of that, because you see it every day, right? You see it every day. And at one of the end of days I had with my section, we talked about that, and I told them, if I go in a battle, right? We end up in a combat situation, and there's 4 of us, and it's a box of MREs, and I'm holding the MREs to myself, and I eat them all, right? Everybody else starving. No, simple situation, right? I eat them all, right? I stash them. I eat them when I'm hungry. Nobody else eats. I go down. Who? I'm 250, 6'2" and a half. They starving. Ain't nobody got no energy. Ain't nobody eat. I done hooked now. You understand what I'm saying? If I don't feed my team, how they gonna help me survive? Right? How we gonna help each other survive if nobody ain't equally, with strength, with the mental stability? How everybody gonna survive it? Because eventually somebody might go down. Right? It's just the nature of the beast. Unless we all do what we're supposed to do to the T, right? But your team, you all have to be as strong. Like they say, you only as strong as your weakest link, right? But you got people out here not wanting to feed everybody else, right? Hold the pot to themselves, like we always say, and you leave everybody else starving. But you can't do it all by yourself. I mean, it's as simple as the quote: "Ain't no I in team, man." And that, I mean, I'm telling you that mentality gets under my skin so much. You already know, already know how long I could talk about that.
Yeah. I know it's not even tough, man. It's kind of sad that that's an actual thing, and that people will actually, man. And I think what Chief said was spot on when he said that the competition is not with each other. It's not with me and Big Mike in our military uniforms as competition. It ain't with me and Big Mike on the podcast. It's with the other people that are trying to take down the country in the military uniform, and it's a bit, just about us having a good platform. And that's really all it's about. And I think Chief said it, man. I remember from our very first show that we did when we had him on, he said, y'all got a podcast. It don't matter if one person watches it or 1,000 people watch it. Yeah, you guys have a podcast. You guys have a platform. And I know that resonates with me forever. I wish I could put that on a t-shirt, right? It don't matter how many people are out there looking at you. It don't matter how many people are out there watching. And it's great when you put a post up or something like that and 100 people like it. It's a good endorphin feeling that you get, right? You get your little dopamine fix for a couple minutes. And I'm gonna say it's kind of sad when you put up a post and nobody likes it. I get it. I do. I get it. But at the end of the day, if you just putting up the post for that, you putting up the post for the wrong reason.
For the wrong reasons, man.
Hey, Pete, let me tell you, people aren't liking your post, but they looking.
100%.
Oh yeah. And
so
100%.
I can care less who likes anything, because that's not why I'm posting things. That's really not posting for who liking it. I'm posting for awareness. I'm posting for, this is what I'm thinking, right? This is who I am. And the same thing goes today for y'all. Like I commend both of y'all for sticking this through, and a lot of other people, right? It doesn't matter. And I'm working so hard. I tell you, the easiest thing to be in life is selfish. The easiest thing in life to be is selfish. Man, that takes no effort to be selfish. I'm telling you, man. And so for me, I spend a lot of energy with other people, a lot of energy trying to promote this idea of collective win, right? Of this real teamwork. And I'm just going to be honest, it's not that I didn't have that in the military. I just didn't have it the way I would say in my mind it's supposed to work. Like truly people for the other person, truly people that's going to call, and like I said, I get strangers call me all the time. And people think I'm crazy. Sometimes I have slideshows that are pretty expensive to produce. And I'll go to a place, I was there yesterday, there'll be 100 people in the audience and people be like, I have 10 or 12 people. Hey, how can I get a couple of your slides? I'll give it to all 100 people. And I have people that go, you're crazy to give away your slides. I'm like, I don't care about them slides. If you're going to get something out of them slides, then get something out of them slides. You can't deliver the slides the same way I deliver the slides because I'm only me. The same way I can't deliver the content that another person does. If my content ain't my slides, my content is me.
Right.
So if you want the slides because this information is going to make you or your team better, man, take them slides. I give slides away all the time. I don't care. And I tell them, hey, use them. Hey, change my name off of them and go teach somebody else. I don't care. It ain't going to ruin anything in my business. So, I'm really spending a lot of effort, probably too much effort to do this extra collective teamwork type thing. And I'm telling you, it don't always work. It doesn't always work. There are going to be people who disappoint you. There are going to be people who come and going to be selfish. Like I said, the easy thing in life to be selfish. Right. There are going to be people who come to try to potentially think they're stealing or getting over from you. Are there going to be people who come to both of y'all and be like, I'm only treating, Pete and Mike, well, because I want something from you. They're going to be airmen who extra nice to you probably because they want to get ahead. I mean, that's just life, man. Right. That's just life of people. But what I would tell you is you close your door to no one. Because at the end of the day, you want to be the person who say, if this is what I believe, then this is what you're going to see.
Right.
And I'm going to keep trucking. Man, I'd have had more people. If you was the quote, I don't even like using these words because I don't think anybody ever gets over on me. I think the universe and karma does what they do to people, right?
It always comes back.
I operate one way, and that's the only way, right? So I think there's probably a good amount of people, probably in the last 3 years, who think they probably got over on me. And in some cases, I lost tons of money and time with people. But I never took it as, you got over on me. The next person who comes up and says that this is what I'm going to do, they invite it in and tell you, show who you not. And then guess what? If that person is not the person, the next person will get an equal chance.
Right.
Because I always believe that there's someone out there. If I got to go through 100 to get the one, then I'm going to go through 100 to get the one. I'm not going to shut the spigot. Now, that's not a good way to live. I'm not endorsing that because trust me, y'all, it is, disappointment is like a needle in the eye, man. Right. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants to take 100 needles in the eye.
Right.
But I will tell you, man, I always believe there's a bigger calling and there's a bigger purpose. And my bigger calling and my biggest purpose is to bring people together. I believe that. I wholeheartedly, I'm on a live podcast and I believe that, that's what my purpose is. My purpose is to bring people together. And if that's in business, that's in life, that's in purpose-driven initiatives, whatever it is, I think that's my purpose. But I didn't know that until probably about 4 years ago. So I go hard in the paint for that every day. So if somebody wants to come and work with me and think that they're stealing everything from me, come steal it all. I invite you to. And I'm going to give it all to you. And I hope you're the best. If that's what your character is, come on. I'm going to leave the door open. You can take it all. But
I ain't going to have it long.
There's somebody out there who's going to come walk through the door for the right reasons.
Right.
And I'm not going to give up until I find all of those people.
So
it's dope.
So yeah, transitioning real quick. You have your books out. And the last time you were on, I think you just published the very first book, which was the small book that you published. And now we have, here we go. Now we have the bigger book. We have two other books.
I've redone this.
No, it was an even smaller one. It was an even smaller. Oh, see, I didn't see that. I didn't get that.
The small book is redone. The small book used to be 60 pages. We just put out the revision to that. It's now 170 pages, and it's redone.
Ah, we know that.
So is this an exclusive? Because I didn't know that, and now I feel dumb for not knowing that because I usually follow pretty tight.
So no, So right now, honestly, I'm in a space, Pete, and this is where when I say I hope everybody can get to that. I use the word purpose and passion like 1,000 times because I think, man, it's like, man. I don't know if I ain't gonna date myself. I was talking about Bruce Leroy, right? Yeah, but when you find that zone, man, when you find your zone that you're living in, and everything comes together and the superpowers come together, man, it's one of the greatest things. And I know Dre's on here, man, and I'm so she's found that creative space. We all are creatives. So I found a space now, man, that I'm less concerned with selling books now, even though my books are selling very well. I'm more concerned about putting out content because I am such in a creative space right now because I have found peace and found passion. Did I cut off, Mike?
You lost you a little bit, but we got you back now.
I got 5 other projects that I'm putting out for the end of the year.
Damn.
That's dope.
Yeah, we need to get the other books. So we got three books out there now. It's 4 books because I only got 2. And so if I'm behind by 2, I feel like I'm only helping you out 50, well, not even helping. I'm only supporting 50%, and I don't want to do that. So I need to get put up on game.
It's 4 out right now.
Okay, so I'm halfway.
If you count the 4th one with PJ, it's 4 out. Shout out to PJ, Life of Military Child.
Life of Military Child, yeah.
Yeah, we got that one.
Celebrity alum.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing with Drea out there, man. She has her book out as well, so I think that's really, really dope. Putting the books out. How long does it take to put a book out?
It can coordinate what you're trying to write. Like, you can go, the best thing that ever happened in this world, I think, is Amazon, starting the KDP, which is a self-publishing, right? Even with self-publishing, I have some editors and all of that stuff who do stuff, but I went both route, right? I literally went through a publisher for my Why Not Me book, which was actually published to a publisher, put in all kind of venues and stuff. That took about 15 months. So when you go through a publisher, it can be a year and a half because it's a lot of things that they're going to, hold you accountable to. If you self-publish a book, you can put a book out in 1 week if you want to self-publish it. Now, according to want to do, because you can, Amazon allows people to self-publish on the Amazon. It's going to be exclusively sold on Amazon or your own website. So I've done both. I've done the publishing route and I've done the self-publishing. For me, for a lot of my books, they're about 166 page now, the 30 days books. It takes me about 3 months. And that's because, the content development, and then I have someone who goes and looks over the editing, and then I have someone who kind of, it can take.
There you go. We lost you real quick. I'm not sure if you're talking, but we lost you. Real quick, Drea went ahead and put it in the chat so y'all can look at the website while we getting Chief back. She put it in the website or the chat. The link. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, she put in the link, the website to go on Amazon to go make your purchase. Yeah, so we gonna have to go ahead and step up our game and get the other books for sure. I'm slipping. I didn't even know that was a thing.
The big one, me neither.
Yeah, so we have to go ahead and go back on that. But I'm not sure what happened with Chief. I think he's gonna try to come back real quick. There he goes. We got you back.
Oh, okay. Man, I'm sorry about that. This is my first day using the internet. We're going to get a boost here next week, so I think it's because
it's all good.
Good. We like the exclusiveness. We like this. This is what we do, and we appreciate it.
You got Pete in the W in wherever the hell he at. In a 7-star hotel. You got me over here with paint chips off my wall. That's what we do.
I'm telling people where I'm at, man. It's a 5-star, bro. Ain't no such thing.
6.5.
Yeah, they do your laundry, which is pretty dope. But anyway, anyway, I love with that. But yeah, make sure y'all go get the book and get Drea's book as well, man. She had a book out there, so make sure you get the book. Oh,
Oh
man,
yeah.
Dale up on here. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm in a hotel. All right, not a motel. Actually, it's a resort. You freaking
Yeah,
hater,
see,
it's a
see, yeah,
resort.
see, look, the truth coming out. The truth coming out.
Nah. We got the good internet. Keep me back.
He actually in the lobby right now. That's not even his room. He's trying to.
Yeah, yeah, he
Trying
is.
to stud out in the
Think he's
business
slick.
room.
He's slick, man.
But nah, Chief, that's awesome, man. I know you say you got a lot more projects, so we won't get into that. We'll go ahead and watch it and figure out when they come out. So I can't wait to see the next projects come out and everything. What's next for Courage Leadership Alliance? Or is that one of the projects that we can't talk about?
No, man. No, that'll be on the invoice too. So
That's getting expensive. This podcast is getting expensive.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, yeah, if y'all want to donate to the show.
No, I tell you, man, what's next, man, is just trying to grow, right? We got some great partners that we are working with right now, doing a lot of stuff, expanding a lot. Got some great people. That 1 in 100 that I talked about earlier, got going through the 100. I'm finding, you're finding those diamonds in the rough, man. Some great people, man. I pride myself on that, man. 95% of the folks I work with right now are prior military. And they're not all prior chiefs. They're master sergeant, retired master sergeant, retired senior master sergeant, retired folks, that just and some people are not. Some people are active duty. But what I think is so beautiful about what we're doing now is we're creating legitimate opportunities. We're not just hobbying it. We're creating legitimate opportunities and spaces for people. So I think the rest of the year I'm focusing mainly on just number one, relaxing. As much as people see me, as much as you don't, right? So you always got to take care of yourself, right? So
right.
I got, so I think what's next, man, is I'm excited for the rest of the year. I'm excited for AFSA next week. I'm excited for where we're going. And a lot of the places we're going is, man, just growth, man, and keep creating a table that's just keeps growing and growing and growing. We're serious about wanting to live their passion and doing stuff like this. So
that's good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mike,
man.
Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
I will. I tell you, Chief. Last time you was on, you hit us with. You said you talked about drive-by greeters, and I ain't gonna lie to you. That stuck with me. Not that I think I was, but it stuck with me to the point where I had to make sure I put extra energy in, making sure people was okay, right? Because we walk by so many people day in and day out. And we all do it. You might walk by somebody and don't say a word to them, right? You might see this person every day. So I made it a point, to make sure I ask, hey, how you doing? Somebody say okay, and you ask them, is you sure? And you gave that to us, and it stuck with me. And I try to pass that on as much as possible because I don't see it a lot. And I think as people we miss that, right? We miss just asking people how they doing and giving them that 1 to 5 minutes to be able to get something off their chest because you never know what they going through. So I appreciate you for that.
People still got you? I want to give you
I stuck with you, man. You got me?
Yeah,
we hear you. We hear you. It's still going out a little bit.
Yeah, we got you. We ain't got you. There we go. I think we good now.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, Mike. I heard all the words. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. That's one of the things I wrote about actually when I retired in that first small book is that drive-by greeter, man. It's that, man, when you're in line or you somewhere, you see somebody, man, just take the time. You can't do it 100% of the time, man. Take the time to connect with somebody.
Right.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Chief,
absolutely.
Yeah, Chief, of course, thank you. I don't even know what else to say, but thank you. Of course, knowing you for as long as I have, which I'm losing track on time, but time doesn't matter. The relationship still stays strong, and I appreciate everything you do for me, whether from a distance or up close and personal, as much as we are now. Hopefully, one day we can rekindle. I get to see you actually in person. You be all over the place, and we always seem to miss and everything like that. But secretively, I guess if you didn't know, your bio when you were a chief in the position that I'm in now. It's still out there. So I grabbed that, and now if I was in my desk sitting in my room, you would see that, and that's kind of what I look at every day is a picture of your bio. It's an old senior master sergeant bio, but it's an old bio. But I still look at it, look at all the accomplishments. It's just like, God damn, it's almost like a checking list to make sure that's my parameter when I can't talk to you all the time. So secretively, that's my little thing I got of my motivation. So I appreciate it. But I like I said, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on with us as always, and thanks for sharing every single nuggets and having this as something that's going to live forever. And I think that's the important part. Is this will never go away. Hopefully, our podcast never goes away, and the content on it will never go away. And
Right.
part of being part of that content is just so important. If not for everybody else, for me, just personally. So thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate it, sir. We always leave you with the last words. So anything you want to say, sir, it's your time.
No, man. As I started, man, I want to tell you, both you and Mike, man, I'm proud of you, man. I've seen a lot of people start things and don't hold true to it, right? Man, you guys got a lot of things going on in life and family and deployments, and y'all all over the place. Y'all could have easily said we're not doing this. And so I just want to, give both of y'all a huge shout out to continue to do this, man, because again, 2 years, or doesn't matter if it was 2 years ago or today, it doesn't matter who's watching, doesn't matter who's liking, it doesn't matter who is sharing. Y'all are growing, and y'all are growing each other. But trust me when I say somebody's watching, somebody's liking, but they just might not be hitting the button. Somebody is envious, and that's still a fan. I always tell people, envious people and people who hate. That's why I'll tell you, I will never post something negative on Facebook. You don't ever post. My last word is that live in your own truth, live in your own purpose, live in your own life. Don't worry about who ain't for you. That's my last word. So to have, and I know it gets frustrating when people don't support you, family, friends, people who are in your face, it gets frustrating, right? But it doesn't matter. So if you give 10 seconds of energy to a Facebook post to say that, oh, people hating on me or this and that or whatever these posts that I see people posting. Actually, sometimes I actually mute those people. I'm just going to be real because it doesn't matter. I'm going to counter that with positivity. If you see me put out a post, it's going to be because I seen something great in life today. I saw a bird land on my balcony. I don't know. I'm going to post something positive, right? I'm going to post that we can do this, that you can do this, that we all the same. Man, to give energy to who ain't for you, who ain't at your table, don't matter, bro. It doesn't matter. So all I will tell you, anybody who's listening, especially for you and Pete in this podcast, and Drea putting out her book, or whoever want to do whatever you want to do. Because the only thing that matters is the person that you got to look at in the mirror, and that's what matters.
Right.
So if you want to go out there and paint your car Pepto-Bismol pink, paint your car Pepto-Bismol pink. You want to go out there and wear 28 pants when you were 34, wear 28 pants when 30. That's what you feel comfortable in. Go do you, right? If you want to go out there and say, I want to call myself an author, then write a book. If you want to go out there and say, I want to call myself this, then go do it. You want to go do this, go do it. Guess what? It don't matter who looking. I don't care. Like I said, you put negative things out on social media, I'm going to love you from afar. I'm going to mute you immediately because that energy don't matter to me. And you ain't even talking about me. You can be talking about anybody. It just don't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter who is not for you. You are for you. And believe me, you're not on your team by yourself. Somebody is for you. And I always tell people, and I'll end with this. And I always, if I do put something, if I do look at something that can be taken semi-negative, I don't ever put it on Facebook. I just write it in my notes, right? So I will end with this. I always say people will try to measure your success with their own regrets.
Facts. Shit. Facts.
People will measure your success with their regrets. So the minute somebody says, oh, why these guys got a podcast and nobody watching, it's because they regret not doing what you do.
Right.
So when people start saying, you work hard, I see you work too hard. And I was like, well, you don't work enough. Because people will always try to measure what they feel like they want to do, but the fear or whatever the barrier is, instead of coming and saying, hey, I see what you're doing. I would love to follow up with you to see how I can potentially do that. People will measure your success with their regrets. So they're going to try to diminish your success because they want you to be right back where they don't want to do.
Right.
And that's the only kind of thing I will say that can be taken, but it's the truth. So I don't diminish people's success with my regrets, because I have regrets, and we all do. Right. So what I do is I go, man, y'all killing it. I'm happy for you. I'm happy to see y'all doing that. I don't go, man, y'all killing it, man. Yeah, it's all right. It's just okay.
Yeah.
You know, I read your stuff, and it's just okay. You know, I'm just supporting you. It doesn't matter if it's or not. You know, I want to show you that you live in your truth, you live in your purpose, and guess what? You know, I'm watching, and I'll support you. Right. But you know, I don't require support from anybody, or ask, or need it. The only support I need is the fact that I can wake up in the morning and feel like a whole person. And if I can feel like a whole person, I got enough support.
Right.
Man, Chief, really appreciate it. Appreciate the last words. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought we were done. Go ahead. I think we lost you again.
There we go.
Go ahead, Chief.
No, I'm good.
Oh, well.
No, I said that was it.
Okay, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for going through the struggles with us with technology and everything. I understand. Don't even worry about it. Just having you on here is a blessing, and I appreciate it as well. Go get the books. Go get the books. Go get the books. We always got to support. So I'll make sure I step up my game too. Don't just talk it. We live it. We're going to go ahead and get the same thing. If anything, just to have it in case somebody wants it. Go ahead and hand those things out. Go check out Courage Leadership Alliance. I need to step up my game with that as well. Big Mike, Unpopular Celebrity, is going to take a break. Are we going to say it now? We're going to put it out on the Facebook.
Yeah, we're saying now. Got a lot of what's your you think you said it backwards earlier. Moving and shaking. Pete's words, moving and shaking. We got a lot of moving and shaking happening over the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna take a little quick pause. It'll be about a month and a half. What you think? About a month and a half, we'll be back. We got some fire. We got some fire coming back, loaded in the chamber for y'all first show back. So we'll definitely put it out there and let y'all tune in. But we really appreciate y'all supporting up until this point. 2.5 years. We had it. When was the birthday? What was it, July 4th? July 14th?
Yes, yeah.
Somewhere around there. But we appreciate y'all up until this point supporting with all of us moving around the world and trying to make this thing happen as best we could. Y'all inspired Pete making intro videos and remixes and all that. He doing his thing, man. So shout out I give a shout out to Pete over there for his crazy brain working and moving, sending me 1,000 texts with what he got, man. I appreciate you. But appreciate you again, Chief, for giving us your time. All the guests that gave us their time with crazy hours we got. Definitely appreciate it. Unpopular Celebrities, y'all know who it is.
Yo, go meet Big Mike and Chief Simmons, Todd Simmons. Go meet them at AFSA next week in San Antonio, right? People won't be there. People be out here protecting freedom. But y'all go ahead and go support them. Go say what's up to them. They'll be at the booth. Chief, real quick, you got a booth? Can you shout that out real quick?
Yeah. We at booth 26, 27. Come holler at us. We're right in the center stage right there. Come holler at us. You'll see a big booth. You can't miss the Lions. So come holler at us. We'll be there with a couple of partners. So, man, looking forward. A lot of stuff we're doing there. So stop by.
Yeah, absolutely. We ain't got a booth, but Big Mike, you can't miss his big ass. He's just like a booth. He look like a booth. Big ass.
That's like when they ask me who I am, I'm gonna say Pete. I'm gonna be signing checks with your name on it.
This thing's gonna bounce. All right, anyway, Unpopular Celebrities, y'all. We out here. Love y'all.
Yes, sir. Peace.